Good evening, everyone. Let me take you on a little journey, not through glitz, glamour, or gossip, but through grit, guts, and grace. You see, dreams don't come with guarantees. They come with risks, rejections, and a big red question mark. But when you decide to chase them with open arms and an open heart, magic happens. I didn't grow up knowing I would one day stand under the arc lights, facing the camera with a smile that had to mean more than just a smile. I was just a girl with dreams that were louder than doubts. And thank God for that. There were times I was told, this is not for you, that I was too opinionated, too strong, or my favorite, too different. But being different is what makes you stand out. And let me tell you something, when life gives you a script, don't just read it, rewrite it boldly, fiercely, like you mean it. Success is not about being in the right place at the right time. It's about being ready when the right time comes. It's about putting in the work when no one's watching and keeping your spirit high when everything around you is trying to bring you down. And here's something I've learned. The most beautiful thing you can wear is not designer clothing. It's confidence. The kind that says, I may fall, but I will rise. And this time in heels. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're at the beginning or in the middle of chaos, know this. Destiny isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create. One bold step at a time, one yes when everyone says no, one moment when you choose courage over comfort. Believe in your dreams loudly. Let them roar, let them echo through your actions, your voice, your eyes, and even your failures. Dreams are not delicate wishes whispered to the stars. They are fierce, fiery forces that push you to wake up every morning and say, I will make this happen. When I started, I didn't have a godfather in the industry. I didn't walk in with a silver spoon. What I did walk in with was fire. A fire in my belly, a stubborn sparkle in my eye, and a heart full of dreams that refused to settle. You see, dreams don't ask permission to exist. They show up in your imagination, in your quiet moments, in the silence, between all the noise, and they demand attention. But they also demand courage. It's not easy to believe in your dreams when the world is handing you reasons to quit. There will always be someone telling you it's too hard, or that's not practical, or you should choose something safer. But here's the thing, dreams are not meant to be safe. They are meant to shake your soul and stir your spirit. If they don't scare you a little, then maybe they're not big enough. I remember being told so many times that I should tone it down, speak less, smile more, that if I wanted to make it, I had to play by certain rules. But dreams, real dreams, don't fit into someone else's rule book. They write their own. Every audition I walked into, every rejection I faced, every time someone looked past me, I held on to my dream like a lifeline, not because I was certain I would succeed, but because I couldn't bear to live without trying. That's what belief looks like. It's not about blind faith. It's about relentless effort. It's about doing the work day in and day out, even when no one is clapping, especially when no one is clapping. Because the truth is, the applause comes later. What must come first is your own voice telling you, I believe in you. There were moments I doubted myself. Of course there were. I'm human. But my dreams were louder than those doubts. They pulled me through sleepless nights and challenging days. They reminded me why I started. They reminded me that no one else had to see the vision, only I did. That's the power of belief. It's deeply personal. It doesn't need validation. It's not dependent on statistics or logic. It's emotional, it's messy, and it's absolutely essential. You can't whisper your dreams into existence. You have to speak them, live them, defend them. Sometimes even fight for them. You have to say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I will not shrink myself just to fit into someone else's idea of possible. When I chose to believe in my dreams, I chose to take up space. I chose to stand tall, even if I stood alone. And often I did stand alone, but I stood strong. Because when you truly believe, You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You make the moment perfect with your presence, your energy, your belief. People often confuse loud belief with arrogance, but they are not the same. Arrogance is hollow. Loud belief is full. It's full of experience, pain, failure, and hope. It is the sound of a soul that refuses to give up. And if you can hold on to that kind of belief, even when the world gets noisy with criticism and doubt, then you've already won. Because the hardest part isn't the journey, it's daring to start the journey in a world that keeps telling you not to. So believe boldly, loudly, unapologetically. Your dream deserves a voice that doesn't shake when questioned. It deserves footsteps that move forward even when the path isn't clear. It deserves a version of you that's willing to fall and rise again and again. Because the dream doesn't care about how many times you fall. It only cares about how badly you want to fly. Own your uniqueness. Not just quietly, not just when it's convenient, but boldly, unapologetically, and with a smile that says, yes, this is me. You are not meant to be a copy of anyone else. You were not created to blend in. There is no one else with your voice, your energy, your story. And that is not just special, it's powerful. When I stepped into spaces where everyone looked polished, rehearsed, and perfectly molded into expectations, I stood out. And at first, I wasn't sure if that was a good thing. People would look at me like I didn't fit, like I hadn't read the script of how to behave, how to sit, how to speak, how to be. And maybe I hadn't. But this is exactly what helped me become who I am. In an industry and a world that loves boxes, neat little categories to sort people into, being different can feel like a rebellion. But rebellion is often the beginning of real change. I remember being called too loud, too expressive, too opinionated. And every time someone said too much, what they were really saying was, "You're more than I'm used to." And I realized that was something to be proud of. Because why should we be less just to make others comfortable? Why should we dim our light just to match someone else's shadow? Your uniqueness isn't a glitch in the system. It's your greatest advantage. It's what makes people remember you in a crowd. It's what makes your presence linger long after you have walked away. And it's what gives your journey a signature that no one else can replicate. There's a certain kind of courage in being exactly who you are, especially when the world is asking you to be someone else. But that courage, that's gold. That's what opens doors no charm or networking ever could. Being unique isn't about being weird or loud for the sake of attention. It's about being deeply rooted in who you are, your values, your style, your voice. It's about knowing that you can walk into a room without needing to mirror anyone in it. Because when you own your uniqueness, you stop asking for permission, you stop waiting for approval, you start moving with a rhythm that is entirely your own, and that rhythm becomes your signature. There were times I tried to adjust. I thought maybe I should speak softer, laugh less, or keep my opinions to myself. And trust me, nothing good ever comes from betraying who you are. You can play a role for a while, but eventually your true self knocks at the door and says, "Hey, remember me?" And when you answer that call, you find your true power. The most magnetic people in the world aren't the ones who try to fit every mold. They're the ones who own their edges, their quirks, their contradictions, the ones who walk in and bring something real to the table. People respond to authenticity like flowers to sunlight. It's refreshing, it's rare, and it's unforgettable. And the more you lean into what makes you different, the more you start attracting the opportunities that are meant for you, not for a version of you that's been watered down. You don't need to explain your uniqueness to anyone. You just need to live it, breathe it. Let it shine through in the way you speak, the choices you make, the risks you take. Because the world has enough replicas. What it's waiting for is you. The real, unfiltered, vibrant you. That's what creates impact. That's what shifts rooms. That's what builds a legacy that actually matters. People might not understand you at first. They might try to change you, correct you, or convince you to tone it down. Let them. Your job isn't to be understood by everyone. Your job is to be understood by yourself. And once you do that, once you truly own who you are, no one can take that away from you. Not critics, not failures, not even fear, because when you stand in your truth, you are unshakable. There is something magnetic about someone who walks in their own skin with grace, someone who doesn't need to prove anything just to be. You can't fake that. You can't bottle it or borrow it. It comes from within. From years of saying yes to yourself, even when the world gave you every reason to say no. Rewrite the script. Don't just follow the lines you're given, especially if they don't sound like your voice. Life has this funny way of handing us roles before we even get to choose them. People look at you, your background, your appearance, your past, and then they start assigning labels, expectations, boxes. It's subtle at first. You're told what kind of person you're supposed to be, what kind of career you should choose, how you should behave, what dreams are appropriate for someone like you. And before you know it, you're performing a version of life that someone else wrote. But here's the truth no one tells you: you're allowed to change the narrative. You don't have to play the supporting role in your own story. You don't have to stick to a script just because it's familiar. You don't have to say the same lines everyone else is saying. You get to be the writer, the director, the lead. And rewriting the script isn't just a metaphor, it's a mindset. It means questioning the rules you were handed. It means asking yourself, who told me I can't? And then deciding that you absolutely can. When I first stepped into the world I chose, I didn't see many stories that looked like mine. I saw a pattern, a formula, a certain kind of presence that was expected. You either fit that mold or you were dismissed. But I never liked molds. I liked breaking them. I liked asking, why not, instead of just nodding along to, that's how it's always been. That attitude doesn't always make you popular, but it does make you powerful, because when you decide to write your own script, you take back the pen. And when you have the pen, you decide the direction, the dialogue, and the destiny. Sometimes the script they give you says, you're not experienced enough. Rewrite it to say, I learn fast and I show up. Sometimes it says, you're too bold. Rewrite it to say, I speak my truth. Sometimes it says, stay in your lane. Rewrite it to say, I'll build my own road. People will resist that. They'll try to hand the script back to you and say, stick to this, it's safer. But safe is not where greatness lives. Safe doesn't challenge, it doesn't evolve, doesn't inspire. Safe might keep you comfortable, but it will never let you fly. Rewriting the script also means embracing the messy drafts. It won't be perfect the first time. You might try something and fall flat. You might go off script and hear the critics loud and clear. But failure is part of the process. The real win is in the rewrite. The courage to cross things out, start again, speak in a new tone. No, you owe it to yourself to make it real, to make it honest, to make it yours. There's a kind of freedom in rewriting the script that scares people who are used to playing it safe. It threatens the status quo, but that's exactly why it matters. Every time someone steps off the page and says, I'm going to try something new, they make space for others to do the same. Every time someone refuses to settle for predictable, they light the path for others who are tired of playing small. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter if the original script was filled with setbacks, trauma, or silence. What matters is that you have the power to turn the page. You can shift the plot, introduce new characters, change the setting, and rewrite the ending. You don't have to stay stuck in a genre you've outgrown. If they saw you as background noise, you get to become the spotlight. If they wrote you as a cautionary tale, you can become a story of triumph. No one gets to define your journey but you. And yes, rewriting the script takes bravery. It means disappointing people who expected you to stay in place. It means risking failure. It means standing up and saying, this is not enough for me. But once you do that, once you take the pen back into your own hands, you realize you were never just a character. You were always the author. Be ready before the opportunity comes. That's the secret no one really talks about. Everyone's chasing the big moment, the big break, the once in a lifetime chance. But what they don't see is the preparation, the quiet hustle, the hours of unseen work that make that one moment count. Opportunities don't wait for you to get ready. They show up unannounced, without a warning, without a dress rehearsal. And when they do, the question isn't whether they'll knock, it's whether you're prepared to open the door and walk through it like you belong there. So many times people think success is all about luck or being in the right place at the right time. But even luck favors the prepared. You can be in the right place at the right time and still miss your moment if you haven't done the work. And doing the work means showing up even when there's no audience. It means rehearsing lines no one's asked you to say yet, building strengths you haven't been tested on, sharpening skills when no one's watching. Because when that spotlight finally finds you, it doesn't give you time to catch up. You either rise to the moment or watch it slip away. I remember days where it felt like nothing was moving. No calls, no auditions, no breakthroughs, just silence. But that silence was the training ground. That's where I practiced resilience, patience, discipline. That's where I learned how to stay focused without applause, because you can't fake preparation. You can pretend for a while, but the moment you're tested, the truth shows. And trust me, that moment will come. It always does. It might be subtle, a small opportunity that doesn't look like much at first, or it might be massive, something that could change everything. But when it comes, your readiness determines what happens next. Being ready doesn't mean being perfect, it means being present. It means knowing who you are and what you bring to the table. It means having the confidence to step into a situation and say, I may not have all the answers, but I've done the work to be here. And that work isn't just technical. It's emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's about building inner strength, quiet confidence, clarity of purpose. Because sometimes being ready means knowing when to say yes, and just as importantly, when to say no. We often think of readiness in terms of skill sets, how much we've learned, how much experience we've gained. But there's another kind of readiness, the kind that comes from self-awareness, from knowing your values, your boundaries, your worth. There will be moments when the opportunity looks good on paper, but doesn't align with who you are. And being truly ready means you don't just jump at anything that glitters. You wait for what fits, you wait for what resonates, and you prepare not just to succeed, but to sustain that success once you get there. That kind of preparation takes commitment, it takes consistency, it takes being disciplined on the days when no one is watching and nothing feels urgent. It's doing one more take when you're exhausted, reading one more page when you're uninspired, holding your ground when it would be easier to give in. It's in the little things, repeated daily, that readiness is built. And you might not see the results right away, but that effort stacks up. It creates a reservoir of strength you'll draw from when the moment finally arrives. The people who rise the fastest aren't always the most talented. They're often the most prepared. The ones who treated every small job like it was their big break. The ones who walked into every room like it mattered. The ones who believed in preparation so deeply that they didn't need an invitation to start becoming who they wanted to be. They were already becoming it, quietly, consistently, long before anyone else noticed. There's power in staying ready. Because then you're not depending on timing or luck or approval. You're depending on your own work, your own growth, your own belief. That kind of readiness doesn't just open doors, it builds new ones. It creates momentum, magnetism, gravity. And it puts you in a position where when the opportunity shows up, you don't hesitate, you don't fumble, you don't shrink, you rise because you are already standing tall. Resilience is your superpower. Not the kind that looks pretty in quotes or sounds nice in speeches, but the raw, gritty kind, the kind that shows up when everything else walks away. Life doesn't always hand you victories wrapped in ribbons. Sometimes it throws storms, roadblocks, heartbreak, and rejection. And in those moments, what separates people isn't who's more talented or more lucky. It's who keeps going, who gets back up, who refuses to be defined by the fall. That's a resilience. It's not loud, but it's powerful. It's not glamorous, but it's essential. There were times I was told no, loudly, repeatedly, and without kindness. Times I walked into rooms and felt invisible. Times I gave everything and still fell short. And I'll be honest, it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. You're not made of stone, you're human. But the real strength is not in avoiding pain, it's in not letting it stop you. You feel it, you face it, and then you keep moving. That's where resilience lives, in the moment after disappointment, when you choose not to give up. People often assume resilience means pretending everything's fine, smiling through the struggle. But real resilience isn't about pretending. It's about being honest with yourself and still not quitting. It's looking in the mirror, admitting you're tired, broken, scared, and still taking that next step. That kind of power doesn't come from comfort. It comes from pain. From showing up when no one expects you to, all from refusing to let failure have the final word. Resilience also means knowing that success isn't a straight line. It's messy, unpredictable, full of detours and delays. There will be moments you want to walk away from it all, moments where you question your worth, your path, your voice, and that's okay. Doubt is part of the process. What matters is what you do with it. Do you let it shut you down, or do you let it challenge you to dig deeper? Because the truth is, you are stronger than you think. You've survived things you never thought you would. You've healed from moments that almost broke you. That strength, that's resilience. It's built one hard day at a time. There's this belief that strong people are unshakable. But the strongest people I know are the ones who've been shaken to their core and still chose to rise. They've faced losses, betrayals, failures, and instead of letting those experiences harden them, they used them as fuel. They turned wounds into wisdom, pain into purpose. That transformation is what resilience is all about. It's not just bouncing back, it's coming back wiser, tougher, more compassionate. In the middle of chaos, resilience is what keeps you grounded. It's the voice inside that says, "This won't break me." Even when you don't believe it, even when the world tells you otherwise, that voice becomes your anchor. And the more you listen to it, the stronger it gets. That's how resilience grows, not in the absence of struggle, but right in the heart of it. Sometimes resilience is quiet. It's the silent decision to show up to work when you'd rather hide. It's answering one more email, finishing one more task, pushing through one more hour. And sometimes it's loud. It's saying no to what doesn't serve you. It's setting boundaries. It's standing up for yourself when your voice shakes. It's walking away from what's safe to step into what's right. Resilience doesn't mean you don't fall apart. It means you know how to put yourself back together, piece by piece, breath by breath, day by day. And every time you do, you get a little stronger, a little braver. That kind of growth doesn't come from winning. It comes from trying again after losing, and again, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come. Not because everything went smoothly, but because you kept going when it didn't. This world can be unkind. People will doubt you, life will test you, but the most important battles are the ones you fight within yourself. The decision to rise instead of retreat, to believe instead of fear, to act instead of freeze. Every step you take, every time you try, again, you're proving that resilience isn't just something you have, it's something you are. Take the risks that scare you the most. There's a strange kind of magic that happens when you step into the unknown, when you push yourself beyond what feels comfortable and challenge the limits you've set for yourself. The truth is, growth doesn't happen in the safe zones. It happens when you're standing on the edge, looking at the vast unknown and choosing to jump anyway. It's the moments that scare you the most that often hold the greatest rewards. But to unlock those rewards, you have to be willing to face your fears, to challenge your insecurities, and to trust in your own ability to fly, even if you're terrified of falling. I've had my fair share of moments that felt like the scariest leaps of my life, moments when I wasn't sure I could handle the pressure, when I didn't know what the outcome would be, when I questioned whether I was good enough or whether the risk would be worth it. But in each of those moments, I knew one thing for sure. If I didn't take the leap, I would never know what was on the other side. And the fear of not knowing, of living a life of what ifs, was far scarier than any risk I could take. Taking risks isn't about being reckless, it's about being courageous. It's about recognizing that the path to your potential is rarely a straight line, and often it's the detours, the twists, and the unexpected turns that bring the greatest lessons. Those are the moments that shape you, that teach you resilience, and that mold you into the person you are meant to become. The most significant moments of my career weren't planned or expected. They were the risks I took, sometimes blindly, sometimes out of desperation, but always out of belief that something greater awaited on the other side. I remember the first time I took a chance on something I wasn't sure I was ready for. It was terrifying. It made me question everything, my skills, my worth, my readiness. But when I pushed through the fear and took that first step, I realized that it wasn't the risk that was holding me back. It was my own fear of failure. And once I stepped past that fear, I unlocked a new level of possibility. That was the moment I realized that every risk, no matter how big or small, holds within it the potential to unlock something new about yourself. People will always tell you to be careful, to play it safe, to avoid failure. And while there is wisdom in being cautious, there is also power in stepping outside of what is comfortable. Playing it safe may protect you from failure, but it will also keep you from ever experiencing the full spectrum of your potential. The safe route doesn't allow you to grow. It doesn't stretch you, challenge you, or force you to evolve. And the truth is, no matter how safe you try to make things, life has a way of throwing you curveballs anyway. So why not choose to be the one who makes the choice to step into uncertainty on your own terms? Taking risks also means embracing the possibility of failure. And let's be honest, failure isn't the end. It's simply a part of the process. The idea that you have to succeed at everything right away is a myth that holds so many people back. In reality, failure is often the most important step towards success. It teaches you more than success ever will. It teaches you humility, persistence, adaptability, and resilience. If you never fail, you never truly learn. So I learned to embrace failure not as something to fear, but as something to welcome as a teacher. The scariest risks are often the ones that are the most personal, the ones that challenge your identity, your self-worth, and your deepest desires. When you step out of your comfort zone and take a risk that truly matters to you, it exposes parts of you that you may not even realize are there. And that vulnerability, it's a strength. It's the courage to put yourself on the line, to say, this is me, this is what I believe in, and I'm willing to risk it all to make it happen. That kind of boldness doesn't just move mountains, it moves you. It changes the way you see the world and the way the world sees you. So take the risk. Choose the path that scares you. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment doesn't exist. There will never be a time when everything aligns perfectly, when all the stars are in place, when the risk feels right. The truth is, you have to make your own moment. You have to take the leap, even when the net isn't there, because if you do, you'll find that the net has always been there, waiting for you to jump. And once you've made that jump, once you've taken that risk, you'll never look back, because you'll realize that the greatest reward isn't in the outcome, it's in the courage it took to take the first step.